Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're gonna address a couple topics. One that got my attention. Oh, Wanikin. Hold on one second. If y'all can hear me, give me a thumbs up. Okay, cool. So, yeah, the sound got a little weird for a moment. I don't know where the music went. Today is a space where we're going to address some issues. I've noticed that more planes have gone down. I just talked to my mother. She's about to get on a flight tomorrow, so we got to discuss this to find out what's going on with this. So, topic A: are all these mysterious plane crashes accidental? Let's look into this. Y'all are going to be educating me on this. I know a little bit about aircraft. I'm a drone pilot. I did a little bit of dibble and dabble in that with the total force community for a little while. And secondly, can immigrant businesses be black owned? I'm hearing a lot about immigrant businesses putting up signs saying that they're black owned, right? Well, let's go ahead and look into this. A plane went down. Another damn plane went down. What the hell? Um, and what I noticed, we did a little digging, and we noticed that the plane that just went down had an attorney, a black attorney on it. Yeah. Hold on one second. Uh, I want to get her name right. Yeah, it's a real cute little sister. Her name was Kia Duggins. She was a civil rights attorney. Um, what's this about? You know, um, Kia Duggins is 30 years old, civil rights lawyer that had a case dealing with our civil rights. What is this about? What's going on with these planes? Anybody educate me on these planes? I watched the video the other night. I finally got enough time. We're on winter break, and I got enough time to analyze the footage of the helicopter over DC and the small I think it was a Delta flight or American Airlines flight. They hit that helicopter, and I was like, no way. Guys, it's a lot about me people don't know. I kind of keep quiet about, I don't like the scene. God has been really good to me, and I've had this life where I've done a lot of different things. I was a pilot for a little while, and had a private practice, and I just don't brag. I don't get down. This just sounds like, look at me, look what I did. So I just kind of keep it to myself. But I was in heavy in aviation for a little while, and I was a pilot, and I guess I still am. I still got the license, but um, what the reason why I brought that up is the Army, their helicopters. Um, this isn't classified, I don't think, but the Army helicopters can be taken over by remote. The technology, we call that technology that flies the planes and helicopters, called avionics. And the avionics on these helicopters can be they can be controlled remotely. um so I'm wondering, why didn't somebody override that Black Hawk and get it out the flight path of that plane? Our brother DJ Big A brought up a real good question. Who was on that plane that hit the Black Hawk? What in the hell is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Wani, do you know anything about these planes crashing? What's going on?
Nope. Somebody told me today that it could be a lot of military age Chinese men came across the Mexican border and they're very good with drones. And all of a sudden, we've got a bunch of drones flying around and our planes are falling out. So maybe people are trying to put those dots together and find out what's happening, but we don't have that many plane crashes. So it could be the air traffic controllers, it could be someone bringing them down. I'm just not sure. I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I was looking at the statistics, and since 2025, there have been 13 fatal plane crashes. 13.
Since the beginning of the year?
Yeah, that's what it says. Newsweek says,
Mhm.
not include. Oh Lord, excuse me, not including Arizona. There have been 13 fatal plane crashes in 225 across the country. That is
What
wild.
about last year? Does it say?
Let me look that up for the whole year of last year. Let's see, plane. How many plane crashes for the whole year of let's say fatal. Okay, so in 2024 there were 18 fatal accidents, but I don't know if that's in the United States. That says period. Let's see. Yeah, 18 in the whole year of 2024. So the year just cranked up.
Whoa.
The year just cranked up, and we're already there. And some of those plane crashes in 2024 were military oriented. So, but this is wild, man. What could we be looking at? Some type of cyber attack? What are we looking at, ladies and gentlemen? Um, so apparently today, duh, 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 I don't know the cause of this plane crash, but it was a Delta flight that crashed at Toronto International. Wow. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen?
And the one that ended up on it flipped upside down, that one was not a crash, but what happened? It flipped after it landed or something?
Yeah, well, I'm
And
I'm
they keep
not.
talking about DEI hires and everybody flying them as white. So yeah, they are DEI hires. That's correct. They have all of the jobs that DEI offers. Thank you very much. We only have 4% at most, and they have in the 70s.
Yeah, I used to serve as an aerospace education officer, and I used to be a board member with the Air Force Association. I'm still a member. I used to be on the board, and I would one of my job was to find um minority or well, you know how I did. I looked for foundational Black American future pilots, and I will say that the job of pilot is dominated by Caucasian people, and it was really hard. I did place a couple of Black pilots, but it's dominated by European people of European descent. So I don't know how they're blaming this on DEI, but this is very
They're just being racist. They're not, it has nothing to do with black Americans or anyone getting the jobs. It's always them. They're always crashing the planes, but they may not be crashing them. They may be getting crashed.
Yeah, I'm concerned. I'm starting to become concerned. Is this some type of cyber event? Like I said, these planes have avionics. Avionics is the software that flies the plane, and avionics have become very sophisticated. So my question, and it's just a question, I don't know any inside information. My question is, could somebody be hacking these avionics? And if
Yes.
so, they need to
They
find out who
can.
the fuck this is real quick, because my mama getting on a flight tomorrow morning.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's why I was curious about it. All right, so let's cut to it. Can immigrants be black owned? We're having a kind of like an issue with immigrants opening up stores and putting up black owned signs and getting our black owned dollars. So, Wani, can an immigrant business be black owned? How does that work?
No, it can't. They need to say Caribbean owned business. What's the problem? African owned business. What's the problem? Why not say that? Hmm?
Yeah.
Anybody know?
Well, I know. It's the process of tethering onto our businesses. Um, we have been the best thing to ever happen to a lot of these people, and I'm not speaking from a xenophobic point of view. I'm speaking from a point of view of protecting our people, because a lot of money goes to the foundational Black American community, and just putting our name on something, on a business, brings people to us to spend money. So, should you know what? Should I run for Congress and pass a stolen valor law for Black Americans?
Yes.
Yeah, guys, put me in Congress.
Yes.
If I get in Congress, I'm gonna put a stolen. I'm sick and tired of people abusing us and using us. I wanted to hit y'all with something from Dr. Claude Anderson on this issue. But while I look for it, brother man, what do you think about this? Can immigrant businesses be Black owned? Maybe I don't know everything. What you think, brother man?
I don't understand why they don't use their own names. Go
My
ahead, brother
bad. Can
man.
you hear me?
Yeah, it's a
Yep.
lot of noise in the background,
It's,
there, partner.
I'm at work. The only reason why I came up
oh,
is because they kept on going in and out. So that's why I came up on
oh,
stage.
yeah,
So
that helps.
I don't know if it's doing that to everybody else. I kept going in and out, and I updated the app and everything. So I just wanted to check.
Yeah, there was a problem when I came in earlier. I couldn't hear anything. So if anybody is in the audience and they can't hear, they can come up on the stage.
Yeah, if you can't hear, come on up. So Dr. Claude Anderson says in Black Labor, White Wealth, quote, there is little cooperation, political or otherwise, between blacks and minority groups. For the most part, ethnic minorities do not support black causes. So right there, ladies and gentlemen, minorities don't support us in our causes. And if you know otherwise, please step up and stand up and educate me. But as I look through the annals of history and I look back at our proud history, I see that my mama and her and my aunties were marching through those streets of Birmingham. Those of you who don't know me, I'm from Birmingham, Alabama. And looking at the pictures my mom and them got, and looking at the pictures they have in history, I don't see any other ethnic groups marching with us. I don't see any Hispanic people marching with us through those streets. I don't see any of our Asian brothers and sisters marching with us through those streets, and that's fine. The one thing about foundational Black Americans is we're not begging for help. We stand on our own too, right? A matter of fact, we have so much strength that we've stood up for other people, which is the point of our podcast. We're no longer standing, like our brother Tariq Nasheed says, excuse this term of art, ladies, but it's time for us to hold our own nuts. Everybody hold your own nuts because we're always fighting for other people. Nobody's fighting for us. But back to this immigrant business being black owned, that is tethering off of what we have. Dr. Claude Anderson says immigrants, he says they, but I'm saying immigrants, they have been getting a free ride at black people's expense on civil rights, minority programs. As members of loosely formed political coalitions, they are mostly quiet while blacks agitate, but they are quick to stake their claim on affirmative action benefits won by black. Now, this is not an official affirmative action issue, but in essence, it is. Putting black owned up there is, and I, from my view, it's stealing my money.
It is.
What do you think, Cheryl? Can you hear me, Cheryl? Is the act being janky today?
Maybe.
Hey, Miss Cheryl, can you hear me? Okay, she can't.
Oh, I can hear you
What are
now.
your
Okay.
thoughts? Are immigrants? Can immigrant businesses be black owned?
No, see, I just came up. Y'all breaking up real badly. I can't even really hear what y'all talking
Oh
about
wow.
because it's just in and out. And I've came down and came back up. And I just wanted to let you know. I don't know if it's happening to anybody else.
Oh wow. Wani, do I sound like I'm going in and out?
No, you don't. But there was a problem when I came in the room. I couldn't hear anything.
Hey, Kush, can you hear me?
And I won't believe.
Kush, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me clearly. And Shanice, if you can hear me clearly, no taxation. If y'all can hear me clearly without interruption, give me a thumbs up. If you can't, give me a thumbs down. I wonder if they hear me at all. They could be messing with the space.
I see some. I see. I see some thumbs up.
Okay, cool. So y'all can hear me.
It's just this has happened before. There's different sound issues.
Okay.
Okay. I'll just come back out and come back in again.
Okay. Yeah. Just making sure.
Yeah. Sorry,
All right.
Cheryl.
Okay.
So we're having an issue with Hey, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, I'm back. My space was acting up. I just wanted to address it. This is not going to be like your usual long space all night. I just really wanted to address some issues, and then we're gonna kind of. I'm gonna let y'all go early tonight. I'm talking to y'all like my students, but I want to talk about the first part of this question is are these mysterious plane crashes accidental? Let's deal with that for a minute. Hey, Nikki. Um, so today we got another fucking plane crash. So let me tell y'all what I know. I'm a pilot. I have a pilot's license. Um, well, let me tell you what I know about aircraft. The uh, aircraft have something called avionics, and the avionic. Okay, first and foremost, you have air flight controllers. So there are people who make a lot of money. Um, who sits in a tower or behind a computer who just do those of you who know math are really good at math. They're called matrices. My math teacher called it Gauss Jordan. That's the person who developed matrices. But matrices are calculating when things are going to collide, and matrices are really useful for a lot of different things. When you go to Chick-fil-A and order your sandwich. If y'all look up at the screens, those screens have matrices, like the optimum amount of time you get a burger before it goes cold, and whose order goes first, priority of order. That's a matrices. So these matrices keep planes from colliding. These people get paid a lot of money to do this. So let's take matrices out the question. If air flight controllers weren't available, aircraft have warning mechanisms on it. So your aircraft, in the nose of these aircraft, you have a radar. So radar emits like a little signal that will hit something. If something is in the way, the signal returns. It's really cool how it works. So the faster the signal returns back to the aircraft, the closer the object. You got it? So these this let's deal with the plane crash a couple weeks ago in Washington D.C. That baffled me. Why? Because an Army Black Hawk helicopter was in the direct flight path of a plane, and if y'all look at the video, it was in a direct flight path for a moment. When you're in the air, seconds become minutes. Like it's like a second. Time is different. Well, it was up there just directly in the flight path. So what concerns me about that is, number one, why did the air flight controllers not wave? We call it wave off. Wave them off. Get your ass out the way. Why didn't that happen? And number two, why didn't the pilot's radar give him an indication, a warning of an impending collision? Now, when you look at the footage, I looked at the footage. There's indication that that pilot, that poor pilot in the passenger plane, saw him and pulled up, like just probably hit the power and pulled the nose up. Um, why in the hell did he not see him beforehand? There was a light on the nose of that helicopter. I don't understand any of this. Now you mix that in with, like I was telling Wani a moment ago, that 13 we have 13 plane crashes already in the United States. 13 fatal plane crashes. What does that mean, ladies and gentlemen? Well, I would hate to speculate, but our sister Wani did bring up a good point. Um, that these Chinese military, these Asian military age men have been coming across the border. What are they doing here? You know what I'm saying? Could this be some type of, and I don't have any inside knowledge. I'm just speculating. Could this be some type of cyber attack on plane avionics? Again, avionics is the software that controls planes. And this really has my concern because my mother's catching a flight in a couple hours. So y'all educate me. What in the hell is going on? FBA law, please educate me.
I don't know if I can educate, but I am gonna speculate. Let me ask you this: a couple of what a month or so ago, you had those drones going up. Did anybody ever get an answer to why those drones was there, and do that have any? Could that have anything with the drone sending some type of frequency? That's my question.
Oh no, we never found out. It just kind of went away.
Okay, I just was wondering, were the drones going up, and it's sending out some type of frequency that's disrupting, interfering with the planes? It's just a thought that I had that I was wondering because we never got an answer to why we seen these unidentified drones and stuff.
Damn, that's a good point. I didn't even think.
Damn good point. Damn
Yes,
good point.
yeah. Um, so when I say avionics, I'm gonna give you an example of what I mean by avionics. The picture I'm about to put in a jumbotron is a picture of the flight yoke of a aircraft, like basically the steering wheel in the cockpit of an aircraft. And let's look at this right quick. Um, Planes nowadays are what we call fly by wire. So a lot of the uh, computers in the plane are linked through, they're back in the old days you used to have wires that connected different mechanisms. Now things are, as we know, Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. And when you're dealing with a control surface that is wireless, you're dealing with a signal that can be intercepted by other um sensitive equipment. So what really has me concerned, even in light of the fact that my mom about to get on the flight, my mama, my baby sister, and my niece and nephew about to get on a flight in a couple hours, got me a little worried. Um, what if somebody is interfering with those signals and taking over the autopilot of these aircraft? Could that be a possibility? I hope and pray not. And sorry to be somber, guys, but I'm really looking for answers in this space. The Black Receipt. What do you think?
What's going on, Professor?
What's up, bro?
Nick, everybody in the space. You remember when they first started letting up these 5G towers? The FAA was complaining about their systems wasn't updated enough to uh kind of like go around some of these 5G signals because they were stronger than the frequencies that we already had. And ever since then we've been having a lot of these plane crashes. So I kind of think it's because of the, like you said, the frequency being off balance with this old kind of outdated equipment that we using, because we haven't updated since the Cold War, and we still using a lot of this technology when it comes down to aircrafts. And with this 5G, and it's pinging off different signals, and it's a stronger signal, it could be knocking off a lot of these autopilot, because most of these aircraft, they don't, the the pilot don't really just drive it, they got it off of the autopilot
Right.
and everything. So it's like it shouldn't be no reason for a lot of these planes to be crashing, because it's not like they really controlling them to to the fullest like you control your car. Know what I'm saying? It's more kind of like Tesla autopilot, and you just got your hands over it, guiding it and making sure you don't stir off all the way. You just got to make sure you pay attention. That's basically what we've been working off this whole time. And now that this 5G and this other, and they trying to upgrade it to a new 6G, because they say that's coming next year. So you never know. These signals can intertwine.
Well, it looks like the plane that crashed on the 17th, caught fire on the runway and lost control. So it was landing when it caught fire. So another thing that we could be looking at is what we call service intervals. Aircrafts have to be, just like your car needs to be serviced. Aircraft are serviced on certain intervals, like at a certain so many flight hours. You need to change this and change that. Um, are we looking at what do they call it? Lack of quality control, or are people neglecting neglecting duties and maintenance and putting maintenance in these aircraft? A couple years ago, several years ago, there was a new plane that came out, the Boeing 777 Max, and the damn software in it, which was created by foreigners foreigners designed. Forgot what foreign country, if it was China or I forgot the country, but it wasn't done by American engineers. They developed the software in it, and that software will go haywire and cause the plane to crash. So, are we looking at businesses trying to cut corners and save money, and what I'm saying, fucking us over? Um, if so, that would be bad enough. But what really concerns me is the possibility that we could be dealing with some type of cyber attack. Ladies and gentlemen, I used to work in that world. I stepped down from the total force community, but I was a board member with the Air Force Association, and I served as aerospace education officer in the total force community for a little while. And I'm not going to tell y'all anything that's going to get me in trouble, but I will say that the possibility of cyber attack, it was getting worse and worse every year. So are we there yet? I hope not, because my mama catching a flight in the morning. Anyway, let's change the subject. um, can immigrants businesses be black owned? Nikki, can an immigrant have a black owned business?
No, sir. They can, but it's really not authentic. I've seen Indians have what you call a black-owned business. I've seen whites have what you call a black-owned business. So it's not authentic.
So what is what's our course of action to, how, that's not okay. Guys, we need people in office. If y'all put me in Congress, I would pass some law. Like in the military, they have a thing called stolen valor for people putting on uniforms and walk around pretending like they're soldiers and stuff like that. Um, we need a stolen valor. We need some type of
Stolen
protection.
nigger too.
What'd you say, brother?
Stolen nigger too.
I think somebody said stolen swagger, but we need something like that, man, because people are taking, making a lot of money off of us and not giving back to the community. I brought that up several times with respect to. Um, I've always made it my business to live in black communities everywhere I lived. I lived in Memphis. I stayed in the hood. From Birmingham, we stay in the hood. Um, well, in the black neighborhoods, across, living in Rochester, New York, stayed in the hood. No matter what city I lived in, the majority, if not all, the businesses were owned by foreigners. So I've always said, if you're going to own if you're going to own a business in a black neighborhood, you need to be giving back to the neighborhood some type of way. But I've never seen it. So one thing we need to do is to make sure that if a business is going to be in our community, they need to be giving back. They need to be buying the football teams some uniforms. They need to buy the cheerleaders some dresses or some cookies or something. Well, we need to stop letting people come in our community, leech off our community without giving back to the community. Dr. Claude Anderson says, as members of loosely formed political coalitions, immigrants are mostly quiet while blacks agitate, but they are quick to stake their claim on affirmative action benefits won by black. These people follow us around and live off us and don't give us anything in return. We need to try to figure out, brainstorm to find out some nonviolent, because I'm not a violent, I don't condone violence, but some type of way to force to persuade them to give back to the community that they're leeching off of, or we need to just stop supporting them and let the business die. What are your thoughts on that, Nikki?
I totally agree. I agree with
Yep.
everything you said.
Yep. Dr. Claude Anderson says, ethnic and racial immigrants historically have been a wedge between blacks and whites, giving whites an alternative to interacting with blacks. These same people who are making money off of our neighborhoods will side with the dominant society against us. So if y'all come up with a suggestion to non-violently have a consequence, I'm all ears. DM me, let me know, and for the solution. Like I said, this is not going to be a long space today. I just want.
I always said that it should be a federal crime when they try to cosplay us, but we just have to find a legal way to word it
Well,
because it's impersonation. That's just like fraud. Just like I said, it's like wire fraud, welfare fraud. I see them every day. I deal with these immigrants every day, especially the black looking ones, or they don't look all the way black, but you know what I mean, the highly melanated ones.
right.
And they use names like James and Daquan, and they hairlines start past the back of their earlobes. And you know that they're not a James or a Daquan. You know that it's something else. So they're trying their best. They're not even. Why can't they just say their name is Michael or Howard or Thomas? Why do they have to say their name is Daquan or something like that?
Well,
What are they trying to do?
I'm seeing something worse than that. And y'all that don't know, I live in Atlanta now. I moved from Memphis. I miss Memphis with all my heart, but I live in Atlanta now. And what I'm seeing in Atlanta is foreigners that are black looking foreigners, maybe from um, a lot of them from Africa, some of them from Jamaica and stuff like that. They wearing do rags and hoodies, and they acting super duper gangster, like a lot of them is some shooters, no cap. And I see a lot of overcompensation. You know what I'm saying? Like there's been an image portrayed out there that the black male is some type of violent thug, which is not true. We know it's not true. But these foreigners in order to try to hide the fact that they're not FBA, are doing some real gangster shit out here. And who is catching the flag from it? Our little boys. You know what I'm saying? So I'm with Nikki. We need to figure out a way. Maybe y'all need to put me in Congress, because man, if I get in Congress, I'm gonna enact a law that says pretending to be black and gain any financial gain will be fraud, like Nikki said. Yeah, y'all gonna. I've never thought about being in politics, but shit, y'all motivating me. Oh Lord, here go Trust UCC. Trust. Let's see what's on your mind. Come on, Trust.
My question is the people that has portrayed us as thugs, who has portrayed us as thugs? And why are we trying to portray that another black people that's coming in from, might be African. I'm not sure. You didn't really define the people that you see, but just curious. Those two questions.
Well, the
Mm.
the people who portrayed us as thugs have been elites, it's members of the elite class. So that could check a lot of different boxes. But you know what I'm saying, the point of the matter is people coming over here, like Dr. Claude Anderson pointed out in his book, are cosplaying the stereo. I mean, they're cosplaying us by perpetuating a stereotype that's getting my little boys shot up. Like, I've been a black male now since the 1980s, and I would say, like Dr. John Henry Clark said, we uh, black people in America range along. We have such a range. Like, we're according to Dr. John Henry Clark, we're anything from saints to buffoons. But the majority of Black Americans, right in the middle, just trying to get through school and make it by. So these in my place where I'm at in Atlanta, this cosplaying of a stereotype is becoming real dangerous. And I'm noticing that a lot of foreigners are cosplaying this stereotype, wherein, from my view, foundational Black American young men are just trying to make ends meet, and try to get through school. But you got these fools out here trying to be act like Baby Kia, and I like Baby Kia, so I'm not saying nothing against Baby Kia, but Baby Kia is an entertainer. He's an entertainer. He gets paid to crash out. But you got people coming over here that think, okay, well, to be cool, I need to look like Baby Kia, so they crash out in real life, and then that makes the block hot for me and my children. You understand what I'm saying? Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, I mean, beyond the elites, I think it's broader than that, right? I mean, it's okay to say crackers, man, because there's a lot of these cracking. I call it not
It's
necessarily to
not
say
okay for
all
me to. I'm not going to say nothing that I don't want to
white
say.
people, but I mean, look, not all white people do it, but I will say the cracker class do because they don't want to see black people succeed. They are playing these reruns in their mind that they seen on the news, and they love to portray that, right? So it's beyond just the elite class. You can say the elite for any race, but it's just been white people that angry white people that would love to see this place as a white nation and as black people not succeeding like yourself, not getting the educational funding like yourself.
Well. I'm actually going to disagree with you, because let's look at what Dr. Howard Zinn said. Dr. Howard Zinn said the need for slave control, we're talking in the 1800s, the need for slave control led to an ingenious device, paying poor whites, themselves so troublesome for 200 years of Southern history, to be overseers of black labor and therefore buffers for black hatred. Religion was used for control. Now, what that meant, ladies and gentlemen, is Dr. Howard Zinn pointed out that poor whites and blacks were on the same level. But what started to happen is poor white women, the Irish women, start preferring black men and having babies with black men. So the system saw the elites, saw whoever they are. The elites got a big question mark on them. Dr. Professor Chris Hedges calls them opaque. They can see everything about us. They listening to us. They're watching this space right now, but I don't know who they are. Um, but the system gave poor whites, a one up over us. What I'm trying to tell the room, based on what Trust UCC just said, is that we need to really pay attention on who's being used to attack us. Right now, the whole poor white game is not in play. The vector of attack is coming from black looking people. You know what I'm saying? You send black looking people over here from the diaspora, from Africa. We must never forget that African tribal chiefs are the ones that caused this. So there's enough blame to go around, but before we can address the white issue, we need to address what's directly in front of us. What's directly in front of us is melanated immigrants who have vitriol towards us, who are destroying our environment and stealing our opportunities. We need to address that first, and then we can address the broader picture. In my view, what do you think, Nikki? Am I out of bounds by saying that? What are your thoughts? Nikki thing probably went out. Well, oh, go ahead.
If you don't mind, yes, there's African kings that some African kings. There was also a big outcry that were against other kings that were against this, and they also written letters to Portugal because Portugal was actually in Africa for quite a long time before all of this kind of happened, but they seen it ruling. So it's fair to say that there was a lot of kings that were against it, but there was a few Judases in there that was willing to sell the indentured or captured
No, no, sir.
tribes.
That's not true. See, this is not true. See, we have to look at history and we have to find out what happened. What happened was, if you must know the whole story, um, Europeans coming out of the Dark Ages um, went to Africa looking for a black king named Prester John. He was a Christian, and Prester John was said to give money and gold and riches to anybody who proclaimed Christianity. So a group of they weren't called white then, but for sake of argument, I'm gonna call them white now. Um, went to Africa looking for Prester John to get money for their war. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's keep this in mind. These quote unquote white people, which that word didn't exist, the word white was created in diametric opposition to us. That's a whole nother space. These Europeans were looking for somebody, a black king, to help them pay for a war so they could kill each other. That's what the name of the game is about. They were killing each other before they even met us. And as it turns out, Prester John was dead 100 years when they got there. Who they found was damn fool. Um, Tribal chiefs who didn't even need what the European had to offer because Africa used to be balling back then. But these damn fool tribal chiefs thought it was a good idea to sell our ancestors just to show off. Let's look at what Dr. Claude Anderson says about this. He says, true or not, quote, true or not, white traders took advantage of the tribal chiefs' generosities. This self destructive tribalism, self enslavement, and lack of concern for wealth were interpreted by the Europeans as signs of inferiority. They believed these uncivilized, childlike heathens neither appreciated nor deserved their God given wealth. Consequently, whites rationalized that it was their moral duty to take and utilize Africa's wealth and put the blacks to productive work as slaves. So these damn fool tribal chiefs, my friend, sold us in the beginning to show off. And then sold us a little bit to get some guns because Europeans had guns. But after opening the door, the Europeans just said, shit, I'm just going to take all of you. So, what we must never forget is African tribal chiefs on West Africa, they essentially started this slave trade. And that's a hard pill to swallow. But
I,
go ahead.
I can give you some, I actually some proof of what I'm talking about because it's very important for us to know. Because sometimes there's nuance that's never really talked about in these spaces. And the names of these tribes, the years that they actually gave that literally fought back, warred against some of these places that you're talking about, and also some of these people, including some of these Europeans. I mean, you got to keep in mind too when gunpowder. That's how they were able to take over Africa. Is first of all through deceit, lies, and guns,
No,
right?
no, that's not true. They were able to take over Africa because black African tribal chiefs was showing off. Nobody wants to hear that, but that's the God's honest truth. These chiefs were showing off. Dr. John Henry Clark said the African invited the European to the table, and the African became the meal. And that's, my friend, that's where I think all this vitriol from some Africans come from Nigerians. That's where the vitriol comes from because they sold us trying to ball out and show off, and they sold us to our death. They said these people aren't going to make it, but we came over here and got our shit together. Now we running shit, and it's a vitriol. It's like you weren't supposed to do that. So, in conclusion, what I'm saying, and I can back up with evidence. And sir, I would ask you to, I appreciate what you're saying, but just don't say stuff on my space. You got to back up what you're saying with evidence. What I'm letting you know is the Europeans weren't even initially concerned with using us as slaves. If you look at the beginning of my book, I have Christopher Columbus's diary, where Christopher Columbus shows that he was going to use the Indians as slaves. That was the initial target. We became slaves because these African tribal chiefs were selling us at nauseum like we were trash, to ball out with the European over a broken umbrella or a broken mirror over trinkets. And the European said, well, damn, they dumb as hell. Let me use them as slaves. The African tribal chiefs have a lot to apologize for, and it's my contention that once we get reparations from the United States of America, we need to go to the Gold Coast and get our goddamn money from them as well.
Unfortunately, those tribal chiefs, you have to keep it in perspectives, are gone. They're
Well,
dead.
no, 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 no. That's where you don't know what you're talking about, Trust. I go to West Africa frequently. Their descendants are alive and well, and they got that money. I don't think it would be hard to prove that their descendants got that money from the slave trade. And when that is proved, I want my goddamn gold. Them motherfuckers can pay me in cocoa. I don't give a fuck. I want my money. Agent, what's
I
on your
totally
mind?
understand.
What's going on, Professor? What's up, Nikki? How y'all doing,
I'm
family?
doing well, sir.
Um, you remember a couple episodes back, you had it was kind of like the same topic, I guess, or what we was talking about right now, anyway. And I mentioned that stunting is in their DNA. Look at Mansa Musa. Look at what he did.
Right.
So I 100% believe that when you show your hand too much, that's how you get, like, in the streets. I mean, some of us in here know, in the streets, you show your hand too much, you're gonna get robbed,
Hell
right?
yeah.
So the exact same thing apply to this right here.
You know,
And I'll land my plane for me. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
appreciate Agent Zero, man. One my granddaddy gave me some good advice back in 2000, when I was about to finish high school. Granddaddy said, he said, son, don't nothing ever get off a childish level. He said, no matter where you go in life, everything's kindergarten. And what Agent Zero just said is true. On the streets, if you go around, hang around showing off all your gold chains and all your motherfucking Jordans, and we used to try to hide it when we had a little bread, what I'm saying, back in the streets, because you make yourself a mark. And that's exactly what these African tribal chiefs did. Now, if you look at the culture of Africa, it was abundant. Last time I was in West Africa walking through those beautiful jungles near Togo, I mean, it looked like Sonic the Hedgehog because like there were fruit and shit just growing out. It was pineapples growing out the ground. Like I could have got lost in that fucking jungle and I would have been, unless something came and ate me, I would have been just fine. I could have picked the pineapple, drank the water. That water off the waterfall was delicious. It was healing cuts, right? It's abundancy in Africa. So these damn fool tribal chiefs didn't know that they were dealing with somebody whose psychology was born out of a area that did not have abundance. It had scarcity. Europeans, well, not all Europeans, but the group of Europeans that was introduced to West Africa, to the Gold Coast, were from an area in the Caucasoid Mountains where it was freezing cold. They were used to starvation. They were used to cannibalism. They were used to brutality. Brutality and masculinity was looked at as a virtue with these groups of people. And they bumped into these African tribal chiefs who were used to abundance. And these African tribal chiefs, this is the sin right here. The sin isn't that these African tribal chiefs tried to give them stuff and try to help them out. The sin that I think that God, the creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or whatever you call him, is punishing them for to this day is that they would dare sell their own people or give their own people to these vicious ass, to anybody, period, but especially to these vicious ass people they don't understand to show off. Ain't karma a bitch? Dr. Claude Anderson says, quote, the self-destructive attitudes of the tribal chiefs have yet to be fully explained or understood. What Dr. Anderson means by that is that shit was unnecessary. Why would they even do it? Dr. Anderson says, but historian Norman Combs offered one explanation as to why chiefs so willingly traded their valuable resources to European and Arab traders. According to Combs, African tribal chiefs willingly participated in such questionable trade practices because West African economies were subsistence based, and therefore people were satisfied with the status quo and saw no need to accumulate wealth and power. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you what that means. That means exactly what I said earlier. African tribal chiefs had all the food they needed, more gold than they could have, all the women they needed, and they meet a new friend that they didn't understand, and they show off by selling their own people to their new friend, and they got what came to them. That new friend, that slave they sold to the new friend, was my daddy's people. It was my descendants. So, given that fact, as I humbly submit it to you, ladies and gentlemen, the West Africa, the Gold Coast, that is Ghana, Togo, Benin, Nigeria. They owe me reparations after the United States of America pays me, and I'm gonna collect.
Now, do you blame those same white people that kept us for 400 years? See, it's one thing to get sold off, but for someone to keep you, your kids, your grandkids, your great grandkids with no Vaseline, unfortunately in prison and in hard labor, do you also hold them to even a deeper standard in disgust?
Well, yeah, I want my money from them too. Reparations need to come from the United States government because it didn't wouldn't take a lawyer to prove that the United States government was complicit in the transatlantic slave trade. So that's the primary vector of payment. But yeah,
Not payment. I said disgust. Do you feel just as strong towards them for keeping your people here for that long in this type of situation and conditions, and even up into some points in the last 30, 20 years?
oh, of course. Why wouldn't I? And this is the thing. This is the thing. As Black Americans, we need to be careful with emotionalism. I know I sound and have inflection in my voice and I'm passionate, but we need to stay out of emotion. My dad was naval intelligence during the Vietnam War era, and Daddy taught me something real powerful. He said, "The moment you get emotional, you lose." So we don't need to get emotional about this. Yeah, they treated us bad, but let's look at what Dr. Claude Anderson said about the African American, the foundational Black American enslaved African. He says, worst of all, slaves were intentionally kept without hope. A slave's life was committed to producing wealth and comfort for white masters. Slaves suffered in silence. So we were denied hope and asked to just silently endure rape. You know, I got curly hair and hazel eyes against my will. But how that ties into what you just said, Trust, is it's easy to get emotional and say you raped my big mama, you put me in, no, we need to be we need to be cool headed and look at what we want money, we want institutions, and yes, so having anger and vitriol is not useful. What's useful is finding out a way to get paid from this situation, to get um, a tactical plan, step by step, to get our money through the legal system. First, from the United States government on behalf of those filthy people that you just talked about. And once the United States pays up, which it will, at this point, it's not you're not going to stop this train. After the United States pays up, West Africa needs to write me some type of check. And if they don't want to write a check, I'll take my payment in gold. I heard they got plenty of that.
Would you what is your opinion about this? Trying to get those reparations. You think it's a possibility through this administration? You think they'll listen, since they said that they would take on no new discrimination cases or pursue any other discrimination
Well,
cases?
and I know you lean towards a particular party, but you know, discrimination would indicate race. We're not dealing with race. We're dealing with lineage. Hello, and it's a lot of precedent on the books to deal with lineage. So, in this administration, I've watched Donald Trump acknowledge that the 14th Amendment was for who? For us.
I mean, yeah, I mean
I've
for
never
us,
heard
but
Biden say that.
he's appealing that right now. He's trying to undo the 14th Amendment for citizens' rights right now, and
See,
that's going to the Supreme
that's
Court.
misleading. He's not undoing any 14th Amendment, and in my view, he's a taking steps to restore the 14th Amendment till it's to its original intended purpose, which was for who? The foundational Black American freedmen. That's the only reason it was created. So, Tar, what's on your mind?
Hey, is this Halo from Tariq's
It
face?
is.
Man, fuck him, man. He's always cooning and simping and
Nobody's calling,
everything.
brother. We
Yes,
got a
you
difference
are.
of
You a
opinion.
lame ass nigga, man.
No,
This is the
nigga,
type of nigga we get in a situation. He's the first one to run when everybody start having a fight.
I'm
The
asking a
first
question,
fucking one.
brother.
No, you being lame as fuck. You
I'm
know
asking
what's
a
really
serious
going
question.
on,
I'm trying to get understand
man.
your
No,
thinking.
man. You trying to set his ass up? You can't set him up. He's a fucking
Nobody's
attorney.
setting them
He's
up, bro.
trained
You
to
did.
argue. What are you talking about? This kind of battle you gonna win.
Bro, it's okay. You sound like you're emotional right now. He just told you not to be emotional, but you are.
Dude, I'm not being emotional. You keep bringing up the same shit in these space with Tariq. I mean, consistently and changing your name. You being emotional because you
And
can change your
and
identity.
and
You
no
like
one,
you got they, them, he, she. What pronoun you using today, nigga? Get out of here.
no one has been able to answer my question
Well,
directly.
I answered your question directly. You're not listening. What I told you is that the foundational Black American will get reparations first from the United States of America. And secondly, if I have anything to do with it, I will seek reparations from the Gold Coast. Now I know that the Ghana and Togo and Benin and what's that little fast meal place called? The Gambia. They didn't exist, but given the fact that their ancestors live there now, I would seek reparations from their ancestors. I go over there, and them folk got money. Where they money came from? The slave trade. Ain't nobody stupid. Yes, sir.
Yeah, well,
Black receipt. What's on your mind?
Okay, I'm just trying to understand, like, why is he complaining about discrimination when most black people, when we feel like we discriminated at a job, we quit and go to another one. Like, we don't give a damn about no job like that. Like, come on. Like, how many black people are really out here focused on suing a job and shit?
that's
Like,
crazy, bro. You
stop
should
it.
sue.
That's
You
y'all
should sue.
bullshit ass niggas that want to be around white people and
And
be
I
in
can
their
tell he
spaces.
doesn't have much.
Hey, trust. Let the gentleman talk, sir. Nobody
Like,
interrupted
let's
you.
be real. That's y'all that want to be in white people's spaces and complaining that they don't want y'all around when y'all can do what y'all claim y'all trying to do. Shit, support black people and build up black spaces and black institutions and exclude these other people like they doing. Like, I don't understand. If you want to live or measure up to white people, then shit, live up to their standards. Play the same game that they play. That's what we trying to do. If you can't, then just like move away. Go to Africa and build with them or whoever you feel like you can build with. But right now we focusing on us and only us, and we trying to build better, build a better Black America.
Yeah, that's true, brother. And trust. Let me ask you a question. What does UCC stand for?
These are actually trust laws.
You're talking about.
You
So
go
you're
to the
talking about.
IR
So you are saying trust uniform commercial
private.
codes, right?
These are yeah the private sector codes.
Uh-huh. So, ladies and gentlemen, I've dealt with Trust before, and at one point I blocked one of his accounts. I let him up here just to kind of find out where he's coming from. Allegedly, Trust has an affinity for the Democratic Party, which has failed us. But since he's up here, I want to, and I'm not espousing this on you, but y'all ever heard of COINTELPRO? There's a really good book I got, a student of mine sent to me, and this says Quote, COINTELPRO is an acronym for the series of counterintelligence programs used to neutralize political dissonance. This book says, although covert operations have been employed through the history, the formal COINTELPRO from 1956 1971 were broadly targeted against political organizations. So basically, long story short, the COINTELPRO had people to come in and infiltrate political movements and kind of throw them in a different direction. So I'm not. Just get something straight. I'm not saying that you're an op, but I'm saying some of the stuff you talk about does sound opish, in my opinion, allegedly.
Well, I will say this, and I wanted to also address this brother that just said something, but I will address you first. So I'm not an op. Some of the things y'all say is just blowing. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Like I even though I disagree, I try not to disrespect, right? And I expect the same thing back because I just don't understand. To me, I feel like some of this movement was actually formed in white supremacy, and I've heard them say it first, delineating from the European culture.
Hold on one
And
second. So you're saying we're really white supremacists?
well, no, I said the idea is just switched around, but I feel like it was founded in white
Well,
supremacy.
I'm trying to understand that how is getting reparations, which is cash payments, land, and tangibles for foundational Black American families, how is that related to white supremacist ideology? I think it's the opposite of white supremacist ideology, is it not?
No, well, the fact that you said deinolate, I mean, I can barely say it. Tonight I'm having a hard time, guys, forgive me. But separating from other black people, that was the first step, right? So to me, it feels like for black people, rather if it's here in America or around the world, that makes us just that much weaker. It's like Wakanda, right? It's
No,
like
no, no, no,
Wakanda.
no. Well, first and foremost, they are not black people. These are other groups. Black is an ethnonym for foundational Black Americans. We're not separating in a bad way. We're identifying ourselves. So, what's wrong with us
For
identifying ourselves as our own group? Where,
is it just for reparations?
well, first
Is
it's
that
for lineage. It's identifying ourselves for lineage, and everything else falls up under our lineage. So we need to identify ourselves to love ourselves. We're saying
I mean, of course we love
no, 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 no,
ourselves,
no.
but
You said that that wasn't okay to separate.
no, I just listen. It's okay to love yourself, but to put down other people that look like you, but might be from Jamaica, might be from, Africa, might be from Haiti. You know what I
Well,
mean?
no, what? See, you putting words.
We do share a
You're
history
putting words.
before we made it to
You putting
America,
words in my
and before
mouth.
we.
You putting words in my mouth.
I'm not putting words in your mouth. I'm just saying
I'm
we.
not putting down anybody. I'm just saying. You see that, ladies and gentlemen, Black Americans. You see that when I say that we love ourselves and we're identifying ourselves. He says that we're putting people down. That sounds like Africans that be saying, "You hate Africa, nigga." So that makes me wonder if you're even in my lineage, which is something I said before. Who are you, Trust UCC? Who are your folks? Robbie Blue, what's going on, Robbie? Help me make sense of this.
What's going on, Professor? Shout out to Nikki. Shout out to the space. I was going to address the topic, but in terms of what you're talking about, I really don't try to make things as hard as trigonometry. It's just very simple, as like good table manners or good Southern hospitality. I'm not going to come to your house and not wipe my feet on the rug and be respectful. Foundational Black Americans make up the majority of the quote unquote flat flat blackness in America. So all we basically said was because we, had mistakenly trusted blindly, the coalition that the Democrats had. So we used to trust flat blackness, but when you start to have people that don't have like a cultural camaraderie with you and they're doing things that are working against your best interest, I don't think it's a terrible thing to say that you don't want somebody to have the last and final say so for you if their numbers are not in a high concentration, and more importantly their belief system is not, doesn't is not representative of the people. And I think that's just all it is it's kind of like somebody like, man, I didn't ask you to speak for me. So maybe you have people who are appointed as opposed to people really being galvanized and getting their voice heard. So to do that outside of just reparations, I just think people's political thinking is different. It's more or less doing an audit. It doesn't mean that
Right.
people won't support you. It's just like we got to make sure that the messaging and making sure that the people who are harmed the most are being addressed. Because it's like, how can you say you got to, the Democratic Party is for everyone, but it's like we got a gunshot wound to the chest, and you're prioritizing people who got a paper cut or a sprained ankle, and they're having the nerve to tell us like, nah, 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 man, you're already good, and then you start doing the audit, and you're like, wait a minute, man, you didn't get dog sicked on you. You didn't get beat upside the head, and you got white women who should have never been considered minorities in my group. Not only did they get, leaps and bounds ahead of us, but now they have the nerve to be arrogant and silence masculine voices in the party and be disrespectful to foundational Black Americans. So it's just kind of one of them things where it's like, if you're not representing us, that means you're not listening to us. And when you misrepresent, in gang culture, that'll get you killed. At the very least, it'll get mama to kick you out the house because you're being disrespectful. And that's what it is. People feel like they don't have to respect us. And I'll let my point.
Okay, so the Democratic Party had failed us, right? Completely on reparations. All right, well, look,
No, no,
Donald
no, no. Let me
Oh,
Donald
clarify.
oh, you
Trump
Let me
is
see, hold up.
wait,
completely in
wait,
charge.
wait, wait, wait.
I
Let
thought
me
you landed your
clarify.
plane.
No, because I want to make sure you understand. This is not about Republican and Democrat. America has failed us. The culture of America is white supremacy. The system all around the globe right now, the beast
Preach.
system, is white supremacy. So that's why I let white folks see. That's what happened. White folks practice white supremacy, but they try to point at white extremism and be like, "See, there's no white extremism. The KKK, the skinheads, those are the bad people." But we're like, no, this system has been maintained because you have trained people to maintain this system generation after generation after generation. So it's the operating system of America. So the culture has to change. You know what I mean? I'll land my plane there.
I
Robbie,
can say the
you
same.
said the magic word. You said audit. Our delineation is the first step. Y'all forget the noise. My doggy's a little excited, but it's the first step in an audit. And we need to audit who deserves reparations. So reparations. Let's look at the root of that word. Reparations. Repair, the act of repairing. Repairing what? Repairing harm done from what? Done from chattel slavery. So once we identify chattel slavery in the United States of America, once we identify the group of people who have a causal chain to that aforementioned slavery, we can look at Frederick Douglass's diary, where he says on page 34 of his diary, quote, I speak advisedly when I say this, that killing a slave or any colored person in Talbot County, Maryland, is not treated as a crime, either by the courts or the community. Mr. Thomas Layman of St. Michael's killed two slaves, one of which he killed with a hatchet by knocking his brains out. He used to boast of the commission of the awful and bloody deed. I've heard him do so laughing, saying, amongst other things, that he was only a benefactor of his country and the company, and that others would do so much he had done, he would be relieved of the dead niggers. We need to get paid for that. Now, somebody from Ghana that just came over here in the 1970s did not experience that horror, therefore is not entitled to that payment.
And I think that's what I was saying in the very beginning. Who do we blame? Remember I said about the white folks that we hold them to the same standards. Forget the elites. I'm just saying white America in general. That's why I asked that question to you.
Well, if
So
you
I
want
agree with Robbie.
if you want to talk about blame and without payment, I'm looking at the money. My eyes are on the prize, as Dr. King taught me. But if you want to talk about blame, unfortunately, the blame initially, the primary blame goes to West Africa. It goes to dumbass chiefs like balling out, trying to show off. That's where it goes, ladies and gentlemen. Um, because they were the ones who initially sold us to show off. And it's hard to hear, but that's what it is. The black, what's on your mind?
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand, like, what is the issue with us separating from other melanated groups? No one complains about Jewish people separating themselves from other white groups, and we all know that they're pure European. We, so it's like, and then when it comes down, when we talk to these other groups of melanated people and try to connect them to their history, they quit to delineate and say, no, that's not my tribe. Be part of the other tribe. So like, it's cool when other people delineate, but when we don't want to be a universal Negro no more, it's a problem. So I I just kind of find the irony and the hypocrisy very funny. That's why I don't want to entertain these type of people because they hypocrites.
You onto something, the black. What? Let me tell you, as a scholar, what the hell this is about, brother. What it's about is that transatlantic slave trade breathed life in not only the United States, but it breathed life into Europe. But what I'm trying to say is we're owed an outrageous amount of money. Two things: these groups of people don't want us to delineate and ask for what's ours because they're going to have to be forced to recognize their history. Um, they're forced to recognize to reconcile the horrors that they put us through. And number two, the main one, they're going to be put in a position where they're going to have to get that money back, which is something they don't want to do.
Well, you got to understand the type of demons you're dealing with. Their history is not to repay. That's why you can show them 100% that what your argument is 100% right, and they still won't do it.
Hold on. What demons are you referring to?
Oh, I'm talking about white culture, Europeans. That's just what they do. They,
Well,
you know,
sir, we live in a nation of laws, and if the argument is presented right, um, in a legal setting, there will be no choice, based upon the argument in court. So I don't know what you're talking about, but you keep demonizing uh, Europeans, which they deserve
well,
to be.
hell yeah, hold up.
That they deserve to be demonized, but I'm not letting the tribal chiefs off. Dr. Chancellor Williams says, quote, for such reason, the unforgivable sale of blacks into slavery by who? Blacks began. The fact that African chiefs and kings had a quite different conception of slavery than that of Caucasians does not excuse them. For in the course of time, they had to know that in the West, the captured blacks became slaves, in fact, and not as in Africa, persons who became members of the community were integrated in the family, became members of any of the crafts, had rights to the farmland, held offices, in fact, had the rights and privileges enjoyed by original captors. So I am saying, this is Dr. Chancellor Williams talking, quote, so I am saying that while the first African slave sellers may not have known the fate to which they were consigning their brothers, in time they did learn. And for this reason, these blacks will stand condemned forever before the bar of history.
Just because they're black, they share their skin color, doesn't mean they had anything in common with one another. Just like Europe, you have French, the Germans, the Italians. They're white, but they had nothing in common. They had different cultures, different everything. Black and white wasn't even a thing back then. It was literally the reason why they called us black is because they were lazy to figure out where
No,
we were from.
that's
When they, am I
that's
wrong?
sir, you're moving the goalpost, and
No, no, I'm not moving it.
I
I'm
don't
just saying
understand your
Sounds
argument.
like
you
babble.
just made an argument about
Yeah,
black.
yeah, brother,
But hold on. But the initial
you're babbling. Agent Zero didn't fight her.
can I just say something real quick?
No, no, no. Trust. Can I ask you something? Because I've heard you speak about us delineating here, and I've heard you speak about us the problem with us delineating in other rooms. And don't give me no. Don't push the goalpost. Just give me a straight up answer. Um, the whole when you address a root, when you address a problem, you find the root of that problem, right? So I say that to say this. Um, Africans and Caribbeans have been, and people from the Caribbean have been waving their flags as they should. But another thing, they've all had derogatory names, and they've been waving those flags and had derogatory names way before we even thought about delineating. Right? Right?
I'm listening to your question.
Okay. So I say that to
One
say
second, let me
this.
just drop down because it's messing up this Twitch. One second.
I say that to say this. Um, if you have sense enough to know that you address a problem at its root, and you know that they've been waving their flags and calling us derogatory names way before we started waving the American flag like that and delineating. And even before we came up with the word tether, which is not necessarily a derogatory name, it's a way to describe those of the diaspora who feel some kind of way about us, for lack of better words. Why don't you go? Well, why don't you spend your time, or could you make a commitment right here, right here? Could you make a commitment right here to spend instead of coming in our spaces, speaking about what we should be doing? Go address the problem at its root. But why don't you put that? Because I've never heard you put the same energy into why do they do what they do?
It sounds like it's free speech. Somebody's mic is on. That's what's going on.
Oh, so you couldn't hear me,
No, it's feedback coming through when I talk. I
Professor?
think
Could
it's
you,
professors.
Professor? Could you break that down shorter for me, please?
What'd you say, bro?
I said, could you break that down into better terms than I could for me, please?
Well, what is that about? It's like echo.
Oh,
You
that's
gotta
due to
mute a little brother.
Huh.
that's Asian.
Sound like
Hello.
somebody cord.
Hello?
Hey, I'm here. Hold on one second.
Yeah, you gotta mute the room.
Yeah.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the somebody has a mic open or something, but yeah, it's not. This is that tactic that Tariq talks about with time wasting trolls. I entertain UCC just to see where he was coming from, but he's kind of like taking this into nothing land. The fact of the matter is, allegedly. It's been identified that he has an agenda, works for some group. I appreciate him come up so I could kind of have a little intellectual sparring. But he has a issue with Black Americans identifying ourselves. He wants us to be with the one big Negro, which turns us into food. You remember our space yesterday where we identified that erasure is the first step to genocide. So the first step would be to erase our culture, and then we'll end up going to concentration camps. But people like me, people like Robbie Blue, people like Agent Zero, Sotar, um, you know, Nikki, so many art people like us, the black, we're not going to allow ourselves to be erased. So I'm gonna give UCC last words, and then we'll move on to the next speaker.
All right. So like I said, I agree with Robbie. Robbie said it first, right? He said that white supremacy is a world system, basically, right? Around the world. The fact that black people can't come together around the world is sad. It reflects what we're going through right now here in America amongst ourselves. And we did join together with brothers and
No, no,
sisters.
no, no, stop right there. I'm not going to
I
accept.
cannot finish,
I,
brother.
I'm not
Let me
going to.
just finish.
I'm not going to accept that because black people do not get along across the world. They don't get along in Africa. So I don't know what you're talking about. That's that Pan African point of view of we need to just hold hands and be one big brother. But I'm telling you, as somebody who's been all across West Africa, they don't get along in the same country. The Ga don't get along with the Akan. Like they don't get along with each other. So
Brother,
where?
I
Let,
understand
let me
that.
ask you a question, UCC.
Can,
Where
can I
Do you
just
get
finish
along with
my
all your
point, brother?
cousins?
Why am I such a threat?
you
I'm just trying to
you're not
say
a threat, you're an annoyance. I'm trying to ask you where do black people get along in Africa?
I said we need to get along, come together. There was a big effort. I forgot.
Well, before we get along with them, they need to get along with each other. And
No, we listen.
sir, answer this question.
Never
Don't
mind.
stop
Never
talking in
mind.
circles.
Never mind. Never mind.
You know what? Never mind. I'm removing him.
You
Just go away. Go away. Go ahead, QT on duty. What's up?
Hey, before he leaves, I wanted to
Oh, I,
ask
I
him.
kicked him off the stage. He's not answering the
Oh,
question.
oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, yeah. I'll just say this to the rooms then, and maybe he can address it another time. First of all, peace, power, blessings, and days of heaven on earth to my Black American Negro freedmen, family of descendants of American chattel slavery. I just wanted to ask, and I'm glad you did take him off stage because he always interrupts people. He comes in and interrupts, and I wanted to get what I had out. I just wanted to know why he's always coming into rooms and he never seems to be encouraging or contributing or planning or helping or strategizing um, with the FBA family, and it's just giving Tether vibes or either Coon vibes. It's very Judas like behavior. There's just a pattern of behavior. This either he's a Tether or a Coon. He's not a foundational Black American slash Black American Negro freedman descendant of slavery. He always interjects himself in conversations, and he is always seems to be the opposite opinion of the collective, and it's just very Judas-like behavior. And I'm just glad that you touched on him uh, being a suspected COINTELPRO because it's just he never comes in with a suggestion of what to do. And I just wanted to find out, is he not happy for us getting so far ahead and doing quantum leaps and cleaning up the mess that's been uh, dragging along for four and a half, 5 centuries? I'm just curious to find out if he is of the Black American Negro bloodline. Um,
I, I don't
because
I don't think he is. I Me and him fell out early on when I was brand new to Twitter, cuz about 9 months ago, cuz I said, "Hey man, look, he kept jumping in our conversation. I was on Ink's page. And he kept jumping in our business, and I was like, "Sir, I was like, before we address you, could we see a picture of you, or can you tell us?" And he told me straight up, "No, I value my privacy." And I was like, "Well, since you value your privacy, get the fuck off our page." I mean, I'm using my government name. You know what I'm saying? I'm not running from anybody. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what his issue is. I think it's a possibility he could be a foreigner or an agent. You know, because he does come in here with. You analyze his talking points. He has a big problem with us delineating from the one big Negro ism, which uh, which is very suspect. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Because
that's why it seems like it's on purpose, right? It's just a time waster. Like
right.
he's just coming in there just to do it, and that's why you gotta not get psyoped, because Tariq notices it sometimes too. But it's just like, damn, are you that obsessed with us? What are you doing at home? Do you not have a job that you just have to come into every space and just literally say the opposite on purpose? Like we don't know. Like you can't be that stupid that you don't know the difference of a lineage and then calling us a hate group and a cult. You don't say that about white people across the globe. There's Italians, there's Irish, there's Germans. You don't say that about Hispanics. There's Nicaraguans, there's Puerto Ricans, the Dominicans. You don't say that about Asians. There's Koreans, there's South Koreans, there's Chinese, there's Japanese. But when it comes to black people, we all got to be one. What? Like, come on, man.
Yeah, yeah.
You ain't that stupid.
Yes, sir. And I caught a lot. I was taking notes while he talked. I was actually using him, if y'all didn't catch it, to teach y'all to kind of do a little teaching. What he did, ladies and gentlemen, is he when I cornered him with textual evidence, he moved the goalpost, and he took the argument into an area that would have confused everybody, which is why I got rid of him. So, like LC just said, that's exactly what in my opinion, that's what he came in here to do. What's starting to happen is a lot of us are having very productive rooms where people are learning. I don't know if y'all have noticed, but the culture on X has kind of changed in our rooms. We become scholarly. We've become analytical. I'm gonna give a lot of our brothers have kind of, I like to think I'm helping with that. But he seems to come in when things are going a little too well, a little too orderly, like as an agent of chaos, which is why I brought up COINTELPRO. That's what, that's kind of what that was all about. But good point,
What's
Elsie.
that Arno down there? It's not fair how you all treat immigrants.
Okay.
It's genuinely not. How the guy LC just came up here and said how um Does he not have a job or anything like that? Well, the same can be said about you all. We're doing this on our spare time. We just want to connect with other black people. And I like how he made that comparison about the Asians
But we're
because
doing it
I
to
can get on
learn.
that.
We're not doing it on purpose just to like get off topic. That's a waste of time. You really must be bored and obsessed if you're doing that. We're
Uh,
doing it to learn and educate.
are you bored and obsessed about your lineage?
We're doing it to teach and educate.
So
That's not boring.
so
We're
much
doing it to
love. Hold,
teach and
hold on.
educate as well.
Stop right there. Much love. You're the guy from Equatorial Guinea, right?
Correct.
Okay. All right. And what's your argument? I'm trying to understand your argument.
I just wanted to talk about how you're saying we're all one. We're not all one big
No, we're
Negro, but the
not.
well, in a sense, but you see, LC made that comparison about the Asians talking about the Koreans and the people from Thailand, all of those different types of Asians, and he was talking about different race groups or whatever, and he was like, yeah, well, they admit they're not all the same. Well, they get on code with one another, and
I'm not
you
saying
as
that we don't get on code, man, but there's levels to this. There's step one, there's step two, and there's step three. You want to
Exactly.
go all the way to the end. I'm
Yeah.
not
Yeah. Yeah.
saying, come on, go ahead, bro.
No, that's right, Els. Thank you, LC. You said it better than I could say it. It's a priority. It's a there is order of operations, just like math. The first thing you need to do is an audit, like Robbie Blue said. You need to assess who is us and where do we stand. So, and we're not stupid. We're not stupid. Most love. We see what people like you, people like UCC are trying to do. You see that we sorting it out to say, okay, where do we stand? Who are we? Number one. It's simple taxonomy. First you identify, then you define. So we've got past that. We're at identify. Like, look, what? Who are we, and where do we stand? And there are many people coming into our rooms, into our movements to muddy the water when we identify. So I'm sorry, bro, but that looks very suspect on your behalf. I would ask
well.
myself, why don't you want us to identify ourselves and analyze the problem?
Well, it's not necessarily about you all identifying yourselves. I mean, it's the thing about you denying other people's American heritage as
What?
well.
What?
Even though we're immigrants, this is an immigrant country. We're
No,
all
it's not. This is not an
No,
immigrant
no, no, no,
country.
no, no. You're somebody that moved to America that just
Right.
lives in America. Now, if I go and move to Japan or move to somewhere across the world, do you think I'm Japanese, motherfucker? No, I'm an American living in Japan.
Right.
Why should it be any different coming over here?
well. We are. The thing about that is Japan is a homogenous country. All of Asia is a homogenous country. They're
So
all
That's
who
not
made it? Who
true.
made
mongoloid.
it for you to have
That's true.
civil?
That is true. For the
Who
most part,
made
they're
it
all
for you to have
homogenous.
civil rights here? Who made it easy for you to be black here? Who made it easy to be black globally? My
Fellow black people,
lineage.
my
My
people,
lineage.
Right.
my people.
You
You
all are
all are
my
my
people.
people.
We're
We're
all
all
black.
black.
Professor.
Well, he said something that we're gonna move past him on. This is not a nation of immigrants. This is a nation where foundational Black Americans have been here the whole time. We are the only non-immigrant group here. So all of his argument, unfortunately, doesn't apply to us. But I would take this time to let my beautiful foundational Black Americans know that's the attack. Right there is to try to associate us with immigrant groups to take away our land based identity. Fact of the matter is, most of us have indigenous blood. We've been here for 10,000, maybe 30,000 goddamn years, and he just got here. This is our home, and we're identifying ourselves as America's only non immigrant group. Like Dr. Claude Anderson said, we have protected status that doesn't apply to him. Um, Go ahead, different. I think it says different.
Yo, hello.
Yes, sir.
Hey yo, man, what's up? What's happening, y'all?
What's up?
Hey Nikki, what's up, y'all? I'm like, bro, like to be honest with you, like, bro, to be honest with you, it comes like it comes to these people. I'm kind of tired of them talking, bro. If they start coming with that type of energy, just kick them out. We already know how to deal with it. I've been trying to get on Tyree Page so bad to tell him, kick them the fuck out. Fuck them. They don't like us. Like fuck them. They do not like us. You can see, like, bro, like you can see the animosity. They obviously don't fucking like us. So just fuck them, bro. Don't listen to shit that they got to say. You got these people blatantly lying about Like, bro, you got these people blatantly lying about our culture and everything, trying to say that they made jazz and rap. Y'all didn't make shit. Y'all didn't have nothing to do with that. We got love for y'all, but y'all didn't help us make shit.
I've
Get your
never
ass
said that. I will
bounced on the.
never say that.
Yeah, man. Hey, bro, saying some crazy shit, bro. Oh yeah,
Well,
yeah.
well,
That's
well,
the
well,
Infiltrators.
different, and I appreciate your energy, brother. And I hear where you come. I hear it in your voice.
Yeah,
But
just
different.
don't pay them no
Yeah,
mind.
yeah. But some
That's my main thing.
is. I think I can't speak for our brother Tariq, but I'm pretty sure it's something similar. Sometimes it's good to kind of use them as a teaching tool because
We
everybody.
got a
Yeah,
lot of that though,
we
bro.
do.
Like I've seen how, like, man, these Africans. It's another thing for the other groups, but for them and for the West Indies to act that way towards us, when we had people that died to fight for this shit.
Yep.
That's some bullshit, bro. That shit pisses me off personally. Like, I'm done hearing them talk. That's why I was like, what's happening in the US happening now. They getting their ass kicked out because we sat out of it. Like, bro, ain't nobody finna fight for a group of people that have jealousy towards us because that's what the fuck it is. Y'all have animosity towards us. And, like, the sad thing is, we don't even think that way. We got love for y'all. You know, we got love for the African diaspora in like in the people from the West Indies. It's no malice towards y'all, but y'all have a lot of malice towards us for no fucking reason. I'm not finna stick my neck out for a group of people who don't like us. No, it's not finna fucking happen. That shit is crazy to me, bro. Shoot. Then like this dude trying to come up here and try to, and then he coming up here, he trying to actually trying to I can't get out the words, but
You good?
he's trying to, he's trying to tell us what we need to do. But they never focus on the Africans who sit up there and talk shit about us. They always try to look in what the fuck we need to do, and they make spaces like actually completely disrespecting us, like talking shit about us, like we lower than them and shit. We don't do that shit. We just like shit. We just talk shit about them back,
Well,
and they
different.
come at us sideways.
Different. Here goes the real fact. Here goes the honest God factor of the matter. I'm responsible for you. You responsible for me. We responsible for our children and our women. That's that. That's our responsibility.
Yeah, like
Is our
shit.
own people. And I've never been a Pan Africanist, but I could have been one. I kind of had that vibe before I went to West Africa. When I spent summer 2023 in West Africa, I noticed right away that don't none of them folk get along with each other. Like our sister Wani said, they got full genocides going on over there. So what that mean? Reason why I brought that up is they don't get
Yeah,
along with each other. So
yeah,
how the hell they gonna come over here and tell me how to get along with you? They need to mind their goddamn business, and I'm gonna mind mine.
they
No,
really do.
no
Yeah,
disrespect, but I'm gonna mind my business. I'm responsible for foundational Black American children, and I'm gonna delineate and focus on my children. And real talk, once my children are raised and my community is straight, if I have some left over, I throw them a bone. But my people come first, and they can't stand that.
they don't want to bone at us, bro. They feel like they better than us. Not all of them, cause I met one or two that don't have that mentality. They actually cool, but I met a lot of them that have disdain, especially people from the Congos, Nigeria. But a lot of people don't pay attention to people from the Congos. My fucking God, bro, what the fuck going on with them niggas? They really don't like us. Like that shit threw me off. I wasn't expecting that from them.
Well,
Like Nigeria, yes,
I
but
give you a little
them,
I give you an assignment, then we're gonna move on because my lady beckoning me to bed. but a little assignment on different look up King Leopold II. So
I know they had a
you
civil
know,
war
okay.
over there to be under Spain, so I do know that much about them. They had a civil war because they wanted to be under the rule of Spain, and it was some people from the Congos like no, so they literally had a civil war
Yeah,
over being under white mommy and
there
white
you
daddy,
go.
which is
That's it.
insane.
Professor James Small said that history erases the mystery. If you look at the Congo, they were fighting to be up under white daddy,
Yeah,
and
like they got some self-hate shit going. I don't know what the fuck going on with them niggas over there.
real talk.
Well, not niggas, Africans.
I hear
But
you.
yeah, brother,
Appreciate you, brother. I
the
appreciate the
stage
comment.
brother.
Yes, sir. No doubt.
It's most there.
Hey, what's up, Wells? And what's on your mind?
Yeah, hi. How you doing, Professor? Hi, Nikki. Hi,
Doing
everybody.
well.
Yeah, it was a very interesting exchange. Because you see, the thing is that you can be a smart person and lack intelligence. You can be an intelligent person and not have any common sense. And you can be maybe a proclaim and be above reproach. That
Uh-oh. Did Wellsing thing go out or is my thing tripping? Can y'all hear me?
guy, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear
Okay,
you now.
okay. Yeah, I looked at his profile and he followed me. I didn't know that, and I wouldn't follow him back. But then I noticed that I guess meant he saw me clapping and agreeing with you. He unfollowed me, which is fine. I don't care. My thing is this, if you are not a foundational Black American, and you should have no problem with with Black Americans delineating if you are proficient in Black American history. If you are proficient in Black American history, there should be no problem with that individual understanding the reasons why it is imperative, it is overdue for Black American people to delineate. It would only make sense. But this is the problem. There's a failure on their education in their respective countries. There's a failure with America allowing people to come into this country and not being educated with true American history, because Black American history is American history. And also, as we see now with the CRT and all this stuff, they're trying to dumb down America. There is a problem here, and they are problematic. And for some of them, when you listen to them, the problem is that Black American people are in their way.
Oh yeah.
They want to envelop Black American people to get what you guys are supposed to get. You're in the way, but they are realizing that you're not going anywhere. So, and then what's happening is, and I think it's slowly, very slowly sinking in, is that they don't understand white people. When you look at what's going on with the Hispanics, I mean, these are illegal people, been illegal for 20, 30 years, and thought that when Trump rolled in, they were going to deport other people or Black people, and they sitting up there crying and carrying on. I'm in LA. It's like this whole thing with Black people and Hispanics. I mean, I don't give a fuck about you. You treat Black people like shit. And so if the ICE is gonna get your ass, then that's so be it. You know what I mean? No one's going to save Hispanics. Just like these people, the Black diaspora. It's like they don't understand that this white supremacy in this country is something that they do not understand. I just listened to a podcast with Trevor Noah, the last one, and he had a guest talking about, basically, in a nutshell, would segregation be the best thing for Black students? I mean, I don't know if you've been seeing it, but white folks have been turned upside down, inside out, because first of all, they can't believe it's coming out of Trevor Noah's mouth, but there are good reasons why, and they're shook. I mean, again, the Black diaspora, they need to you come to a new country, you need to be quiet, you need to be silent, and you need to learn. Come into these rooms and learn. None of you are going to run people out, but they have this hubris about them, and it's like they want to dictate to you what your Black American history is, and it's like, no, no, no. I responded to a guy earlier this morning. He had a post about, oh, his melanin is popping, and his dreadlocks, whatever, and his Black American history. And then somebody responded to him with a post that he had posted previously about, oh, he's so glad he's Nigerian, and he's so glad that he don't have a slave master's name. That is a
I saw that.
disrespect. Disrespectful. And it's like, why would you say that? Again, there's a lack of
You
sensitivity. If you knew about Black American history, that would not come out of your mouth. And I had to
well,
respond to him. I
well,
had
Wells,
to,
when I
and I
when
landed
I
with that.
thank you, Wells, and it's always a blessing to have you up here. But I got to respond to that. I spent some time in West Africa. I went there with a group of five professors, two physicians. One was a professor of medicine, and we were as advisors to build a school in a neighborhood called Hohoi in Ghana, and to build a library on another mission in Paso near Togo. But what I'm trying to say is, touring their libraries. I had like the key to Ghana. We were touring with the royalty and the dignitaries. We were with a dignitary. That's why. But I noticed that all their books were our books. So basically, this let me address another bullshit ideology. The uh this whole idea of I have a real last name because I'm in West Africa is garbage. Because a lot of those a lot of those fancy last names were given to them by white supremacists. Nigeria was named after a white British woman. So, and I'm not going to tell you what I think Nigeria means, but I'll give you a hint. Ria means river, so you can figure the rest of it out. So, Black Americans, like our brother Tariq has said time and time again, we know our history long before most of these people know our history. Our history is verified, it's in writing. And one more thing I noticed in West Africa, and I'm gonna shut my mouth, is what shocked me is I noticed that West Africa was more colonized than the United States of America. And I'm from Alabama. I'm a big old country boy from Alabama. So I figure colonization does not get worse than the American South. Wrong. West Africa was totally colonized. It was wrecked. You got pictures of white Jesus all over the place. So what you're looking at with a lot of these people is self-hate and vitriol towards you, and a little bit of an inferiority complex. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna shut the space down pretty soon. The old lady then beckoned me to bed, but I'm gonna go to a couple of new people. Then we'll go to Sotar and Agent Zero. Will have last words. So Hampton, I haven't heard you speak yet. What's on your mind, bro?
Peace and power, family.
Yes, sir.
FBA family. You know what I'm saying? It's good to be in the space with y'all. I wanna touch on the perception, right, of many of what those are outside of our lineage, how they view it. See, they really think when they study Black history, Black American history, they believe that it was just a mystical, magical white man named Abraham Lincoln that just decided to wake up one day and wave his hand and give us freedom
Hey,
and give us.
Hampton,
eh,
stop right there. Y'all heard what Hampton just said? That's where I step in on this. With that mystical, magical Abraham Lincoln fucking hated black people. I could prove it with you with textual evidence. Because Abraham Lincoln was mixed with, had black blood. He hated him. It's that self hate thing. But my point is, before I steal the brother's thunder, is I wrote a book. I started a series of books for foundational Black American children. In the jumbotron, you'll see my Cash App. Put $25 on my Cash App and put your full name and address, and I'll send your book out tomorrow when I send the rest. And if you ordered from me, I had a lot of orders earlier this week. I'll send those books out tomorrow. So I wrote a book on Black history. I start in 1492 to the American Revolution. That's volume 3. So it's for sale now for $25. If you it's a workbook so you can work with your kids, with your family, to understand your true history without all the bullshit. I give it to you real, but go ahead and finish, Hampton.
Yeah, and going to that point, because they are getting this Eurocentric version of the history, and they believe that mystical, magical Abraham Lincoln waved this mystical, magical hand and gave us freedom. They have the Eurocentric perspective on our history. They don't even study the Black scholars the way that we study them. We validated Marcus Garvey. We validated John Henrik Clark. We validated Dr. Yosef Ben Yakana. We validated all of these great Black scholars, and they didn't even study those men. We did. When Marcus Garvey went back to Jamaica after he was ousted from America and ran for political office, they didn't even elect him out there.
Preach.
So it goes to show that they still have more of a Eurocentric mindset, and they can just get themselves out of that damn mindset and actually study from the real scholars, the real history, the real testament of what happened to us and to our particular ethnic group. They would have at least a little more damn sense. But because they're riding on the damn Eurocentric train, they don't realize how enslaved they really are. They think that they got some type of out on us. They think that they have some type of advantage over us because they got Lake Victoria out there. I mean, goddamn, Victoria is not an African name. Would you people wake up and
Facts.
understand that you're colonized? So don't come to us with that slave master name thing, because guess what? I got my daddy's last name, and he got his father's last name, and he got his father's last name. And we wouldn't come to your country and disrespect your country and disrespect your ethnicity the way that y'all feel so entitled to come over here and disrespect us. And that is part of because we have outsourced our culture so freely and so much and not gatekeeped it for so long that that sense of entitlement has come over with them. And I land my plane there.
And you know what? And I'm gonna say something that's not popular, but I'm not here to be popular. I'm here to give you the facts. We are also up to 30% European in DNA. Our DNA is different, so we got to deal with that. One thing I notice every time I go to Africa to do studies is I don't look like the people there. None of us do. My wife's honey brown. Like, she still don't look like we look different. And I'm not saying we look better. I'm not going there. But I'm saying we're a different group of people, and that's okay. And that's what we're trying to establish. We're a different group. We love who we are. We have a beautiful history, and we're ready to stand in the sun and stand with our history. Once we stand with ourselves and stand with our own identity, we can make friends. But first, we need to know who we are. I love it. Black Vanguard, I hadn't seen you in a while. What's going on in your world?
Hey, what's up? Yeah, I'm out. I fly. I gotta catch early morning. I'm going out the country to Japan tomorrow though. So yeah,
Okay.
I just want to chop it up real quick before I get ready for my flight tomorrow.
Okay.
So yeah, I travel all over Africa, the Caribbean. I've been all over East, West, and Southern Africa. I've been in Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, Ethiopia. I've been in Nigeria, Ghana, Senegal, Botswana, South Africa, and Egypt. Well, I went over here to Ghana, especially Amina Castle. Man, I never knew that West Africans were part of slave trade till I found out later on, though. Until I started doing research myself. Also, I went to East Africa, the island of how you went to Tanzania, Professor Allen.
No, not yet. I want to go. I want to see.
You go to Tanzania, you go to the island of Zanzibar.
Mm.
They got this place called Stone Town. Go to the Stone Town Museum, and also they have a castle called the Old Fortress Castle in Stone Town. That's where the slave headquarters was when you had them Africans was slaying some of our people from East Africa, especially the Tanzania Zanzibar area, and send them over to the North America as well. Also, yeah, the East a lot of these East African countries push the slave trade too as well, especially Tanzania, the island of Zanzibar. And also is that they don't get along with each other over there. Well, I went to East Africa because I went near the Congo. I was in Rwanda. Did you know over there you got the whole genocide in the night? It's called the Hutsis and Tutsis over there, Hotel Rwanda. They still deal with the after effects of Hotel Rwanda right now to this day. And while I went over to Rwanda, they told me stories about the Hutsis, how they was propped up in the Tutsis though. They was actually the underclass though, I believe. And then also is that they got a civil war going there in the Democratic Republic of Congo between I think they call it M19 rebels. They took over a huge chunk of the border between Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo. And also you got ethnic wars going over here in the Congo. So you got a whole toss of war that everybody know about the diamond mines over there, the blood diamond mines over there, and everybody know about the cobalt mines. We got people, places like Apple, Dale, how they working them African children making them work. I think they get paid like $1 or $2 a day. They did the cobalt mines and make the electronics, the cell phones, the batteries, stuff. Slavery still going on in East Africa right now. Everybody know about Somalia. Well, I went over here to Kenya because I used to mess with this African ambassador to Kenya of California in Los Angeles. So
Well, Black Vanguard mentioned Elmina Castle. If y'all looking in Jumbotron, I want to show y'all something. You see a picture of me standing in front of a cannon. That's Elmina Castle. That's one of the places where slaves were sold. So if you look at the picture of me with my foot up, directly behind me, the road is a road leading straight to Elmina. That's Cape Coast. So the American enslaved African people, like my dad, me and my dad's a historian. We traced him. Now my mama's indigenous. She been in Alabama for 20,000 years. But my dad, his dad was part of that transatlantic slave trade. My great great granddaddy. When we traced it to a plantation in North Carolina, but we came from that place where my foot is up directly behind us is called Cape Coast. Now, let's talk some shit right quick. If you notice, it looks like I'm pregnant. I'm hiding something, right? When I walked in Elmina, they charged me to get into it. I was offended because they charged me to get into to look in a slave castle that we were sold from. I shouldn't have been paying for that.
it,
Don't you think they should have? Should let me go in there for
Exactly.
free?
Same thing when I went to Zanzibar. It's the Zanzibar Museum and also the old fortress. They charge you to go to the old fortress in Zanzibar. That was the main slave headquarters
Craziness.
headquarters over there. So the old fortress in Zanzibar, Stone Town. But also, while I went over there to Nigeria, is that people talk about the tribal wars because I've been all over Nigeria. I've been to Abuja and Lagos. Though, did you know that you got wars going on between the Igbo and the Yoruba over there? Those are two. Those you got four major ethnic tribal groups over there. You got the Igbo, the Yoruba, the Fulani, and the Hausa. The Igbos are at war with the Yorubas. Did you know? Is that they got a whole terrorist organization called Biafra? You heard about that, Professor Allen? The Biafra, the indigenous people of Biafra land.
No, but there's a greater point here. The point is, before they come over here wagging fingers and telling us what to do, they need to learn how to get along with each other. What you're hearing is they don't.
Exactly.
Last but not least, if y'all look at my coat, I'm hiding my camera. I'm hiding my camera because they not only did they charge me once to get into the slave castle, they tried to charge me again as press because I had a fancy camera. So this is a business. Last thing I want you to look at that picture where my foot's not up. Look at that big neighborhood behind me. As far as you can see is houses. My question is and was, where in the hell were these people when my great 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 granddaddy was being sold and my great 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 grandmama was being raped at that castle? Where were the villagers? Why didn't they help? They didn't help because they were complicit. Africans were complicit in the
And
slave
that's
trade.
true. And also, why I went to Nigeria is that one brother said about they don't get along with each other. That's true because why I went over there to Nigeria is that they got a whole tribal war between the Igbos and the Yorubas over there. They got a whole terrorist militia group over there called Biafra, the British people of Biafra. They got a political pack movement, and also people need to look into the Biafra. They got political packs all over America where they trying to garnish support. They work with both the Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, Independent. They work with any political party that fits their narrative and agenda. So people got to watch out for that. They got political chapters in almost every state in America. So they could look it up. The Biafra headquarters, though, that's a terrorist organization, designated terrorist organization in Nigeria and also in the UK. And also is
Wow.
that the Biafra movement, though, they just wiped out a whole tribal ethnic group. I think there was a Yoruba tribe over there about a month ago. They just burnt whole entire villages over there. Then the Yorubas, everybody know about Tenebu, right?
Yeah.
About while he was in
Well,
Chicago, that he used to be one of the biggest drug lords in Africa history. They don't talk about the shit that goes on over in Nigeria though, and they don't tell you about all the
right.
scamming going over here. One of my friends got scammed going over to Nigeria though too. So it's a whole lot of scams going on. Same thing in Tanzania with the visa fraud scams over here. So it's a whole lot of scams that goes on in a lot of these East and West African countries. In South Africa though, I went over here. I was in Johannesburg. And I talked to the local South Africans over there. I said, why that y'all 80% of the population, but y'all allow 8% of the population basically to run there over you. I said, we not even the majority over here. We only 15% of the population over here we fight back. They don't play with us now. What's wrong
Well,
with
your scholarship, um, and enjoy your flight. Uh, little brother, I don't think we heard from
Yes,
you.
sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes,
Sir,
sir.
I was wondering. I mean, I'm from Chicago, and the only time, segregated city, the only time that we deal with foreigners is I'm actually is business. 9 times out of 10 is a deal going down, and
Uh-huh.
it's crazy because just because you're skin folk, I mean, your color's mine doesn't mean that you're mine. Like
Right.
at the height of the Bay of the Pigs, J. Edgar Hoover said that the number one threat to America is black. Wait a minute, we're finna go to nuclear war with Cuba. But the biggest problem in America is the black folks. I'm still trying to understand it, but I get what he's saying. Far as they're not like us. They don't see it like us. And I was like,
Well, it's a lot of hidden history, and I don't even have enough time to
okay,
elaborate on that. But it's a lot of things that the history books leave out. If you purchase my book, I kind of talk about a little bit the preliminary behind that, but just to give you a little bit. Um, what nobody tells you is Cuba
Hmm.
probably still is, but mostly was full of people of African descent, and the black majority in Cuba was about to overthrow the small tiny white minority in Cuba, and there was going to be what the system of white supremacy was scared of was a kind of like a repeat of Haiti. That shit was about to happen all over again. So when we read the history books, we caught up with the nuclear war, the Bay of Pigs, and all that shit. But what Dr. Howard Zinn talks about in the People's History of the United States. Maybe I'll try to have a space on it at some point. But the black people in Cuba were about to overturn the island and flip that shit and join forces against America. Um, if you look at Fidel
Correct.
Castro, let me think of really, let me think of a politically correct way to put that. Look at Fidel Castro's lineage. He's he's of a certain religious persuasion. Like you're looking at a conspiracy. That's the best way I know how
Wow.
to put it. But yeah, buddy, Fidel Castro has lineage from people. I'm trying to be politically correct here. He wasn't Catholic. He wasn't
Jewish.
Baptist. He wasn't Muslim. Yeah, you go.
Well, you know what, Professor? I will
Yeah.
be ordering the book. And can I go one more, if I may? Um, these
Yes, sir.
dark
Yes, sir.
skinned people in America, they don't understand. They don't see it the way that we see it because they don't go through. I mean, they like you say, tribalism, tribalism. No, we're family. My people are from bottom of Mississippi. Bottom of the Mississippi, and
Okay. What city?
bottom. We one exit from Slidell.
Probably the Delta,
Slidey.
probably the
Okay, I'm
Delta,
from.
because
One
I'm from
exit.
Chicago
I
too.
mean,
So
that's where we go down there and get our stuff and come on back in.
Yes,
But
sir.
the bottom line is they never experienced this. I mean, I went through some experiences here in Chicago with myself, and it's like, really, these white folks and these Africans. I mean, think about it, Professor. If I was them, I would hate on a black person because we some bad MFs. If I was them, I would definitely put my business in the black community because I think we're what 1.2 trillion spending dollars. I got a
Yep.
gas station by my house. It's definitely making like $350,000 a year. And to the rest of the
Selling potato chips.
to the rest of the gang,
Hell yeah.
this is how you count their money.
Yep.
Count how many employees they got. Like I count, they don't live in our neighborhood. They live on the other side of the tracks. So at least just being able to afford an apartment, maybe a child, maybe a woman, you need to make at least 30 grand. Well, you got four employees. Three times four is 12, correct? That's 120
Hmm.
grand. So that's paying the employees? What is exactly the company making? Uh-huh. Now you see me. So we just
Yep.
got to be able to count their money and understand why they are in our neighborhood. It's about the money. We're if I'm correct, 1.2 trillion spending.
Right.
So
And I will say this just to have a disclaimer. I'm all for delineation
yes,
and
sir.
trying to figure out ways to get businesses that don't support foundational Black Americans out of our
Yes,
neighborhood.
sir.
But I will say we have to look at non-violent. I'm not a proponent of violence. Let's look at non-violent ways to do it. I'm from Alabama. I
Professor,
went
I
to school
back.
in Montgomery. Oh, go ahead.
Yes,
And
sir.
Montgomery, we shut it down in Montgomery just by doing a bus boycott. We said we're gonna, like he said, what are we, $2 trillion? We need to watch that power of the purse. Say shit, I'm not giving you no more of my money, and we shut it down non-violently. Go ahead and
Professor,
land your plane.
Professor, I'm a land right here.
Mhm.
There's something. I'm in Chicago. We have automatic offices. There is a part in that automatic office called the Chamber of Commerce, and we need to. That's what lets what business in, what business out. No, we don't need your service. You keep going. That's what we need to start focusing on too. I think.
Yes, sir. I love it. I love it, brother. Hopefully, I see you again, little brother. I appreciate it. QT on duty.
Signing off, sir.
All right, brother.
10-4.
QT on duty. What's on your mind?
Hey, I just wanted to say, and I'm just so grateful to have a gathering of like-minded people and the brotherhood or sisterhood of the blood.
Isn't it wonderful?
Yes, yes, just the brotherhood and the sisterhood of the blood. I just wanted to say that these infiltrators among us are just lying opportunists. They're deceitful. They're conniving. They're evasive when you ask questions or try to find out who they are. They deflect. They have a PhD in deflecting. No direct answer. That's how we figure out because you're always no cohesion. They're very dangerous. They're treacherous. They're working for the enemy whether they're getting paid for it or not. It's just we. I'm glad that we are sifting through and combing through and checking paperwork, and that we're standing on business, and we are taking circling the wagon and getting these people out. They're counterproductive, and even if they're not COINTELPRO, it's the hate in their heart, and jealousy is cruel to the grave, and it rots the bones. And I pray that it rot their bones and not our bones, but they are adversaries, and we have to get them out. And I pray that someone, I pray that Mark Carter will be able to get the ear of President Trump to get them out of our vicinities, out of our personal space. They're dangerous. They're chameleons that come in, and I'm just, uh, you're always having to watch your back. You're always having to. My son experienced it with his job, and just tethers, and they're just a pariah, and they have to go. And I just pray that this all this. And I wanted to say one thing to the last thing, Mrs. Welsing's fan club. I just appreciate her being a ride or die chick, and just really pray the Rahab reward over her. The Rahab was the woman in scripture that was not of the blood of the Israelite, and she helped hide the spies when they came in to take over the city, and she helped with Israel, and all she wanted in return was to protect her family. And when they came in, when Israel came in to destroy the city, that her family would get out safely, and she ended up being the bloodline of Boaz, and having married Boaz and having King David. So I just pray that she gets Rahab reward to go uh, into the destiny that to help for helping us uh, secure the bag. Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, Welsing is much loved. Much, and Welsing is an example that we are not xenophobic. Welsing is an ally. We are foundational Black Americans are not against the diaspora. We love people in the diaspora, but we're just delineating so we can come together and better serve our community. That's it, you know. And we're verbally standing up for people who are diametrically opposed to us. And unfortunately, a lot of our diametric opposition comes from members of the diaspora, which we're just now finding out. This is kind of a new discovery, um, relatively. We're going to, I think it was Marcus. Was it Marcus? We'll go Marcus, Agent Zero, and Welsing will have last words. Or yeah, marking agent Marcus Agent Zero LC. I see your hand, LC. Go ahead, Marcus.
Yes, so this is my first time coming on here. I always listen to Tariq all the time. But yeah, like I said, I've gotten tired of the tethers and all those people that come on there
and the white supremacy to come on there. And I think it's time when we got to start switching to something as far as talking about this anti-hate crime bill for
Hmm.
and I think once we start switching on that, I think they'll start moving away, and then we can start being more focused on both as far as the tangibles and the anti-hate crime bill. And I land there.
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing that up, bro. Earlier in the space, my space acted up. I had to restart it, but we kind of Wani, our sister Wani, was kind of talking about that before she had to leave. Wani was talking about we need a stolen valor. We need some type of bill to protect us. And I said if I ever ran for office, which I never intended to, but I'm getting an indication that people want me to do it. If I ran for office, that's going to be one on my agenda to have a bill for foundational Black Americans so people can stop putting signs up and saying we're Black owned. People can stop exploiting us. I'm sick and tired of it. Sick and tired of it. Thank you for bringing that point up, brother. Let's see. It was God TV. Did you ever get a chance to talk? Gaudy TV. Did you get a chance to talk, brother? Going once, going twice. Okay. LC, what's on your
I
mind?
just wanted to go back to the Lincoln thing. Like, yeah, when just guys, just know that yeah, Lincoln just didn't free slaves because he was in love with black people. He just wanted to free us. It was an economical thing because the
Oh,
North
hell
was
yeah.
the Union was gonna lose to the South. They had free labor, hence the slaves. So he may have done it, and we could be grateful for that. And he probably was nicer or more genuine than most other presidents. But don't think it was just because he wanted to free the slaves. It was to win the war. And
Brother, don't even get me started with that shit. You got me looking through J.A. Rogers' book as we speak. Ladies and gentlemen, what the brother's saying is true. And Lincoln's hands was tied. Lincoln had a chance meeting with Frederick Douglass, who did not have a law degree, didn't have a degree, but Frederick Douglass was a genius, foundational Black American. Frederick Douglass, Lincoln was getting his ass whooped by them white boys, the Confederates, because the Confederates had war colleges. I'm from Alabama, and you can travel if you go towards Huntsville and you travel through the middle of nowhere, Alabama. You'll see signs up in the woods that say such and such war college, such and such war college. That's all them white boys did was study how to shoot and how to kill. They were, I'm gonna give them their props. They was good at it, and they were beating the shit out of Lincoln. Well, Lincoln was losing that war, and he had a chance meeting with Frederick Douglass. And Frederick Douglass said, with all his genius, said, President Lincoln, I'll win you this war. I'll give you the slaves. But Frederick Douglass wasn't no damn fool. He wasn't like Jim Crow Clyburn talking about, I don't want nothing. I don't want nothing. No. Frederick Douglass said, I'll give you the slaves if you give us our freedom. Now Lincoln didn't give a fuck about black people, and he kind of tricked us. He said, "Well, I'll emancipate you." Now, anybody who went to law school or had a child that lost custody of a child knows that emancipate is Latin. It means transfer. So emancipate don't mean free, but I'm gonna leave that alone. But what I'm trying to say is, Frederick Douglass got Lincoln to emancipate us. Lincoln didn't want to do that shit. I'm looking for a quote right now. I'll stay up all night if I find it, but it's quotes where Lincoln expressed just straight hatred to black people. Some speculation is because Lincoln was a Melungeon. He was mixed with black. Just like J. Edgar Hoover's ass. Pull up a picture of J. Edgar Hoover and hit images. He looked like me. You know what I'm saying? Hey, what they say, nobody hates like family. Um
yeah, and the
anyway,
last thing I wanted to
let's
say
see.
too is just
Go
for
ahead.
if anybody's got kids, I don't have any dependents or nothing. But even if you have Twitter Premium, there's we got to teach the kids is like to learn AI. There's Grok 3 at the bottom. There's Chat GPT. There's everything. There's YouTube University. Like schools are getting worse. We know our public schools are only run by the tax dollars in that area. You cannot rely on that anymore. They got rid of the Department of Education type shit. Like, guys, just tell the kids are on the screens anyway. They're playing video games anyway. Just download ChatGPT. You can ask them anything. If you type in what is a foundational Black American in Grok right now or ChatGPT, it'll tell you. It'll even bring up Tariq's name and say that he coined it. The shit is on point. It scans the internet, but to get these high 200,000, 300,000, $400,000 a year jobs, they're going to have to learn that, or just teach them the code HTML, CSS. You can do this all from home with free courses, guys. And there's no, that's
Hey,
it.
l- listen to that brother on that, ladies and gentlemen. I used to be aerospace education officer, and I was a board member with the Air Force Association. I taught STEM and computer science. I taught computer science 1 year, and I tell you what, in Memphis, I taught computer science principles alpha. And I tell you what, they didn't. They do not want our children in computer science. They don't want us to learn how to program. And if it's something they don't want us doing, that means we need to do it. Get them, like you said. LC got it. He got know what the fuck he talking about. The number one major in colleges at the Ivy League used to be biochem. Everybody wanted to be a medical doctor. The number one college major at Harvard and Princeton right now is computer science. Because just like he said, with a bachelor's degree, you can make 250, $300,000 a year. And to tell you the truth, computer programming is actually kind of fun. So yeah, LC, follow me. I might. I'm
Oh,
thinking
I'm
of.
following you.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Yep.
follow. I'm following you back. I'm thinking about kind of starting a little program to get kids certified because that's what I that's what I learned. The total force
Yeah, I'm
community
with
taught
it.
me how
I'm
to.
with it.
Uh, I don't like code, but I know Python, the Python language. But
Yep.
yeah, let's see about that. Who is next? Y'all gonna get me cussed out. My lady in the bed waiting on me. Let's see. But I love y'all though. I have such a blast on here with y'all. Just learning from my people, man. It's beautiful. I don't want to leave nobody out. I think
I was going to say thank you to QT and to all of you, but thank you because I was so honored. I could not believe that she said that. And thank you. And you know what? I've always said that when the big gates of delineation is closing, there's me and five other people, my family, that we want our VIP pass.
come on,
And
Wells.
that's it. I mean, look, I don't know. Listen, I've been through hell and back with some people in between Clubhouse and here, but at the end of the day, for those that have always been said that there's no allies, at least you know one, and you know one, and actually there's six of us, my family back east. So when you hear me, you actually hear them too. So but QT, it's always nice to be recognized, and I'm very honored by that, so thank you. But Professor, you better go before you get in trouble.
Yeah, I'm about to get in trouble. But yeah, man, I love y'all. I'm honored to be on stage with y'all. And we'll crank this back up tomorrow. Those of you flying, whisper a prayer for my mama getting on a plane in a couple hours. Whisper a prayer for her. This shit with the airplanes is ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? We need to know what's going on. I don't know what's going on, but um, if all hearts and minds are clear, I think I went through everybody. Look for me tomorrow. In the jumbotron, you'll see Nikki the God's Cash App, Show Her Love. You'll also see my Cash App for my book. You can put $25 on my Cash App and put your full address in Cash App, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll send your book out tomorrow. Where I talk about stuff that I can't talk about. I wrote a book for Foundational Black American History. And with that being said, I will see y'all tomorrow. Peace out. Oh, LC, you want to say something right quick? Okay,
No, I was
okay.
just saying
Peace
peace.
out.
See y'all, family.
Bye, guys.